One of the biggest fallacies of the US government is the perpetuation of individual private land ownership. This is something that was not practiced on this continent prior to European contact, and even the concept that land can be owned is something that was and continues to be inconceivable to many indigenous people. Although government policies such as the Homestead Act, land that was held in common by indigenous communities was taken away and then granted to individual families who were encouraged to till the soil, deplete the resources, and then sell the land for profit. And in our capitalist economy, private land ownership is one of the drivers of individual and generational wealth, and the fact that white people have had disproportionate access to land ownership for centuries is a big contributor to the enormous racial wealth gap. We now have this privately owned farmland being sold off to foreign investors, pension funds, and the uber rich, and this drives farmland prices way out of reach for the budgets of small and medium-scale sustainable farmers. The concentration of farmland in the hands of non-farmers is also deeply concerning. Bill and Melinda Gates now own more farmland than anyone else in the United States. In addition to and in concert with land return to indigenous communities and farmers of color, moving land into the commons is an important tool to counter escalating land prices and the concentration of farmland into fewer and fewer hands. One model for this is the Agrarian Commons, which brings land into local community ownership and stewardship with the support of a national nonprofit land trust, Agrarian Trust, which I recently began working for and which Reese works for as well. The Commons is structured as a 501c2 or 501c25 limited scope nonprofit, which holds the title to the land, oversees its ownership, and conveys leases to farmers. The board of each commons is made up of 1/3 farmers, those same farmers who are leasing and stewarding the land, 1/3 local community members, and 1/3 Agrarian Trust representatives. This open source model is currently being piloted in 13 commons across the United States, including the Puget Sound Agrarian Commons here in Washington, which a number of you got to hear about at the workshop this morning, and which is currently seeking a farmer for its first farm on Whidbey Island. If you missed the workshop, you can find Reese, who introduced me, over there in the back, and learn more about the Puget Sound Agrarian Commons and the process for applying to be the farmer there. I recently joined the Agrarian Trust as a co-facilitator of the New Commons Alliance to connect all of these commons and more that are coming online, as well as other aligned organizations and initiatives to learn from each other and share this model out to other interested communities. Our goal with the Agrarian Commons is not only to support farmland access for next generation farmers, but also contribute to land justice. For example, the recently formed Central Virginia Agrarian Commons supports BIPOC control of land for building resilient regional food systems. The founding board members of this commons share a goal of repairing the harms of Black land loss and that have impacted Black farmers in Richmond, Virginia, and the surrounding region. This Agrarian Commons is governed by a majority Black board, centers the interdependence of rural and urban communities, and models land justice through a gift of generationally white-held land.